Good morning, morning. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. I am Kristen Mink, County Council Member for District 5, and I'm so excited to be here with you all for this bill signing. This is a huge deal. Consumer protection for renters is what we have needed for a very, very long time. When I came into office myself, having formerly been active in the advocacy community, one of the things that I was most excited for coming in was to be able to, I was like, we're going to use every tool, every little piece of that code, and we're going to nail those landlords that have bad intentions. And so I was really excited about that, and I came in and we had County Executive Marc Elrich, who was absolutely, of course, on board for that. And we really, we targeted some of the buildings that are in my district that really are some of our worst offenders, and we did go in and use every piece of code, and the executive branch was a huge partner in that. Really, everybody who can issue a citation was on their P's and Q's, and what we found over that process was that we do not have the tools. We just do not have the tools for landlords who are determined not to hold up their end of the bargain, not to follow the law, not to follow the housing code. We do not have the ability as a county to force them to do so. So for many of the landlords out there who are, it's not an issue, That's great, but we are spending a disproportionate amount of county time trying to get landlords to do the right thing without really the tools to do so. And our residents, the tenants who live there, have no legal recourse that is actually effective. And so we got together with advocates and with the executive branch to try to figure out what is the tool that we needed? We needed something different. And consumer protection for renters, this bill is where we landed. So this is a law enforcement bill. We are ready to enforce some housing laws here in Montgomery County. So it seems like really a simple thing. We are simply removing an exemption under consumer protection law that currently landlord-tenant law falls under. For no explicable reason, we are just going to remove that exemption. But that one little change is teed up to make a huge difference. No longer do tenants have to stand on their own to fight for individual citations on an individual issues. The county can step in and, representing the county, take action against landlords who have stacks of citations in really a much more meaningful way. And again, it's a big deal to have that be the county versus a landlord rather than asking individual tenants to do that, because that puts those tenants at risk. And unfortunately, we did not pass good cause at the state level this year, so that's more important than ever. So we look forward to getting some landlords in shape. And I just want to give a huge, huge thank you to all of the advocates who have worked to make this possible, because this has really been not just the work even since I came into office. It is the voices of the advocates making the demand that this county step up and do something and fighting for this moment that has brought us here. So huge thank you to all the advocates. You're going to be hearing from one of them shortly. A huge thank you to County Executive Elrich and to the many members of the executive branch who have been working together on this project to bring this all together. And a big thanks to my supporters on the council, Vice President Will Jawando, who you'll be hearing from, and Councilmember Don Lukey, who have been major champions of this bill and this effort as well. And at this time, I'm going to bring up County Executive Marc Elrich.
So I'm really happy to be here, and I want to thank the bill's sponsors, Council President Kate Stewart and Vice President Will Jawando and Don Lukey, council member, and the entire council for passing this. I share her frustrations exactly. When I was on the Tacoma Park Council, we had housing code, and we would cite landlords with violations, and they would delay. Back then we could get into court, except the courts would just simply delay it. The landlord would say, I want an extension. I want an extension. They would extend the thing almost a year sometimes. And when you finally got to court, they would fix something the day before, and the judge would say, problem solved, the thing is fixed, no fine. It's as if the only problem was the thing that wasn't fixed, not the conditions they forced tenants to live under for all those months when things weren't fixed. And I thought we would be able to do something at the county level, and we found out we were in the same situation in the county, whether it was the city attorneys or the county attorneys going into court to try to get this fixed proved to be long, tedious, and ultimately ineffective. And if landlords feel like they can string this out to the very, very end and make you miserable, then they're going to do that. And maybe you leave, maybe you stay, but you put yourself in constant conflict with the landlords. And that's not the way this is supposed to be. We had something that actually happened in the Tacoma Park. One year, we finally won a court case. And we took one of the main buildings on Maple Avenue. And this is back in the day when you could have bought that building for about $13,000 a unit, which is how cheap housing was. Those units now would be like 100 or something more a unit, but $13,000 a unit. And we actually brought in a city attorney who would agree to fight, because our attorneys gave up. We're not going to court. There's no point in doing that. This attorney fought it. That landlord got hammered with $108,000, I think it was, fine. That was real money back in the day. That's the price of 10 units in the building. That's a lot of money gone out the door. And by the end of the summer, every landlord in Maple Avenue fixed their buildings. Because once they knew we were serious about this and that they would get fined, they behaved. And all we wanted is people to behave. Not all landlords do this. We had a group in that time that did it in one particular part of the city because you could guess who lived there. But that is not the problem throughout the county. We have plenty of landlords who do what they're supposed to do. We have a few landlords who don't do what they're supposed to do. And this is targeting them, and it's going to make sure that to do what it should do, it should be painful. If you violate the law and you put people through pain and suffering and you figure out how you can stretch this out as long as possible, there should be a cost for that. And I'm really glad that the council moved forward with this legislation. Most landlords are not going to have to worry about this. This will never be an issue for them. The ones that it are, the ones that it is an issue for, hopefully they'll take the message from this, they'll realize that we're serious about it, and it'll cease to be an issue. And all we want for people is like a peaceful relationship between landlords and tenants, a decent place to live, the landlord collects rent, tenants get a decent place to stay, and everybody takes responsibility for their part of this bargain. So that's what we're trying to get back to, is a place where everybody's responsible for their part of the bargain. Tenants will pay the rent, landlords will fix the building, and they will not wasting their time in court. So I look forward to this.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. All right, Vice President Will Jawando, come on down.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here for this bill signing today. Good to see all the advocates. We want to really thank again the county executive and Councilmember Mink for her dogged pursuit of this bill. You know, it's something, as she mentioned, I've been really proud to be on the council. We've done a lot to try to move renter rights in the right direction on the council, in the state, but there's always more to do, and this was a gaping hole that was identified and that will now be closed. I want to be clear about a couple things that were said. I'll be additive. There's just under 40% of our county rents, right? So you're talking about nearly 400,000 human beings. Their home is a rental property, okay? It is required by law to be habitable, to be safe, and to be a place you want to go and raise your children. When that doesn't happen, even if it's for a minority, I remind people, when you have that big of a number, even if it's 10%, okay, you're talking about tens of thousands of people who are living in this county in uninhabitable, and I know that's the case. That is the case today, right? So the vast majority of landlords, as the county executive said, would not be touched by this because they are doing their job. They're making sure that it's habitable. But there are a lot of people in our county, some in this room, because I know their stories personally, that are living through conditions that are not habitable, and that's not right. I grew up in this county in an apartment that was not habitable. I moved around a lot. I've told the story before. My mom and I shared a one-bedroom efficiency. I would wet the bed because there were so many rodents and mice and roaches on the floor that I didn't want to get up and use the bathroom at night. Like, that doesn't leave you. You remember that. And unfortunately, there are kids and families dealing with that kind of stuff today in Montgomery County. It's not right. Again, not the majority, but it's happening to thousands of people. This will allow, and then you think about the system we have. The system we have only yields a very small number of fines for the citations that are issued. It's a system that operates much like the county executive said. They wait, the courts are backed up, and the judges doing the best they can, knowing that they're seeing hundreds of cases. When they get to the court date and they hear, okay, it's been fixed, they throw it out. And it's not that they don't care, it's that the system is broken. And so this will allow the county to help pursue these things in a different way. When the landlord cashes their check for rent, they're promising that they're delivered on what is in that lease. And top amongst that is a safe, habitable home. And so this will make sure they are merchants, which is what this technically will change. And you are consumers as renters. You have signed a contract to say, this is what I agree to live in. And so they should be under the consumer protection law. So to every renter that has been trapped or in an unfair lease or feel like they haven't had those terms lived up to, and a maintenance request that has gone and languished for months, this is for you. And to every landlord who has met their obligations, thank you, continue to do so, this won't bother you. But to those landlords who don't, you should be on notice that we're going to make sure we come at you so that you live up to your end of the bargain, because these are people's homes. This is not some optional thing. This isn't buying a bag of chips from the store. This is where people live every day. So I want to thank also, as I close, SEIU 500, UFCW Local 1994, CASA, JUFJ, AIM. I'm looking at all the shirts out here. I'm sure I missed somebody. Enclave Tenant Association. I'm looking right at you, Portia. Everyone who said that they would not accept the status quo and who worked so hard on this. And Councilmember Mink and her team, MCC and ISWA, right here, over here, just spoke to you guys. The League of Women Voters, there we go. Who did I miss? Progressive Maryland. AIM, I think I said AIM. Who was it? HIP? Housing Initiative Partnership. All right, anyone else? All right. And, but thank you. This is, yeah, but you're welcome. I'll fall on the sword for you. But let's carry this momentum forward and let's make sure it's implemented. And thank you to DHCA and the county executive, who I know will take this authority in our Office of Consumer Protection and use it, which is what we really want. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And Vice President Jawanda was the first signer onto this bill, and I have to give him huge credit. As soon as we talked about this, he was like, yes, put me on this bill. And I know he has been to the Enclave as well as other sites and sat down with residents. So I know that not only does he come with personal experience, but he has, he's putting in the work on the ground to make sure that he knows exactly what's happening in the districts across the county. So much appreciate that. And also want to give a shout out to Council President Kate Stewart, who was not able to be here this morning, but was also a signer of the bill, and really sends her regards and her thanks to the advocates and to the executive branch as well. And now I'm honored to bring up my friend County Council Member Don Lutke, who sits with me on the Public Safety Committee and has been a great champion of this as well.
Thank you so much. I will be brief, but I don't like when the law doesn't function as intended, right? And so everyone here knows that there were plenty of things on paper that looked like they could remedy the situation. But in reality, they couldn't, right? And that's the problem. At the heart of this, the tenants made a bargain. The landlords made a bargain. Everybody had assignments and things to do that were to make that deal work under that contract. Except there's unequal bargaining power and unequal ability. And if someone is able to find those loopholes to game the system, as we say, that's a problem. That leaves people vulnerable. And we can't have that. And so using consumer protection as a mechanism to get people what they signed up for when they entered their leases is important, right? Everybody needs to uphold their end of the bargain, and we expect that to be equal on both sides. So this is an amazing step forward in giving the county the tools to deal with this in a much more productive way. As noted, the county had been spending a lot of time on these smaller ways of dealing with this that weren't yielding the result. So if you're not getting the right result, you have to change course. And I love nothing better than trying to find gaps in the law and fix them. because life changes, times change, and if someone is exploiting a loophole, we need to fix it. So I appreciate Councilmember Mink's leadership on this, and Council Vice President Jawando and Council President Stewart, and I was happy to be able to sign on to this to make sure we are taking care of addressing the needs of our most vulnerable residents who aren't getting the basis of their bargain. So with that, I turn it back to Councilmember Mink, and I look forward to the signing of this bill today. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. There is no more important voice in this conversation than those who are being directly impacted by our current failure and inability to hold landlords accountable to the current law. And these are, again, the voices that have moved progress in this county and across the state for years. So I'm really honored to bring up Sergine Yango now, who is a resident of Montgomery County, a resident of District 5, and a member of Action in Montgomery. Oh, great. Come on down. Come on down. We're also bringing up Tania and Pascal with the Progressive Maryland Enclave Tenant Association, as well as Harold. Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy to be here today. And my name is Sergine Yango, and I am a member of the Tenant Association of Enclave with my team. We are working together all the time, and leader organizer at Action in Montgomery. We are so grateful that Bill 625 has passed because it gives our county another tools to address the failure of negligent lenders. It recognizes that renting units is a business where a service is provided and the tenant pays for that service through rent and other fees. And as a consumer of that service, we should be able to benefit from the consumer protection law. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for everything that you guys are doing for us in Montgomery County. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and don't leave, because we're going to be doing the bill signing ceremony now. So actually, come on up. Alex, I know you're going to come. Let's go. Come on. All right. Yep, come on up. We need SEIU. We need HIP advocates. Okay, Usman, MCC. Yep. Come on down. We're going to gather around. Kiddos, this is you too.
Comment on your penmanship.
Wonderful. When we start on that side, we got Progressive Maryland, we have your CASA.
And we have more copies too, so there will be more to hand out.
time.
I've never had anybody ask me for a penny for their system.
We're going to make sure everybody. One more here. We got more in there.
Mark, can you hold that? Can you hold that one up? And
Okay.
With it open to the. I figure everybody should hold it. And
We have
everyone.
push everybody hold, you want to fold it, you can fold it back.
And everyone look over here, please. And look really happy.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Oh, man. Sí, 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 ya. Me fue el consejo de Prince George. Sí, yo sé. Sí, 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 sí.
15, the formation of interages which melded youth and